Hello, and welcome back to the stream. I'm just going to quickly... Oh, never mind. Quickly rearrange. If you're new here, we have got a few new subscribers. So if you're new here, make yourself known in the chat. If you are watching, make yourself known because I want to know who is watching and who's engaging. Oh, it keeps clipping, so I'll just leave it. If you're new here, my name is Jared Parker, an aspiring cinematographer. You can follow me on Instagram at the top here and join our chat. And in that chat, we've got latest updates on YouTube videos and when the stream is going live, etc. We do have a few new members in that chat, so if you are a new member within that chat, welcome to the chat. And if there's anything that we're talking about and you want to know more about, I've got my number down below, which you can call in live, ask any questions you like, or just have a conversation about the topic that I'm talking about. So that's everything really. I have changed the lighting. The lighting setup is a little bit different. I wanted to go for like a nice warm light, and also I'm missing the tube light because it's downstairs doing its thing, because I needed it for a shoot. But yeah, so I've tried something new with a warmer light and a little bit more, dramatic, I guess, a little bit more cozy. I want to try and move this a little bit so that we can see there we go, that'll do. We're going to switch to the other view anyway. Now, the things that I wanted to talk about in today's episode, show, whatever you want to call it, there was a few things. So first of all, it was loads of positive feedback on the recent YouTube video, so thank you to everyone who watched that video and who left comments. But I do want to touch on that YouTube video a little bit and the point I was trying to make. Let me switch. There we go. And I'm going to play this in the background. Let me move this. There we go. So there was a few... That's better. There was a few things within this video. Sorry, I'm going to move this. It's going to bug me. Oh. There we go, that's better. Yeah, so there was a few things in this video and some comments that people have made, and I'm all for it, but I have a feeling that some people might have misinterpreted the whole point of the video and sort of what I was saying, especially near the end. And I think it was just maybe my thoughts and opinions on the 6K versus the 12K. And my point within the 6K versus the 12K. And because a lot of people didn't like the fact that I had said that is the Pyxis 6K still worth it in 2026? Of course it's still worth it. At no point I said that it wasn't worth it. My only argument was, in regards to that video, was, is it worth just... If all of the accessories are exactly the same as the 6K than they are to the 12K, if you're just willing to spend a little bit of extra money for the 12K, surely that's better to do that for the higher frame rates, the lack of no sensor crop or anything like, and a better dynamic range at certain resolutions. Is it not worth just spending a little bit of extra money on the 12K? That was my only point that I was trying to make. And I think some people in, which again, rightfully so, might have interpreted that and sort of thought that I was saying, the Pyxis 6K is no longer worth it. You need to buy the 12K. And some really valid points were brought up, which I love to see. One person said about the fact that the 12K sensor isn't made for the 6K body, and I think I completely agree. He was just, again, I don't own a 12K, so my comparison was very vague, and that my only point is it worth just that few £1,000s for that extra boost in camera, if you will, better frame rates and things like that. But then the person who commented, and I'm sorry I can't remember who it was, but have a look in a second. But they just said some really good points. So the battery life is terrible because the sensor is doing a lot of work within that small body. He was saying about how it overheats because it's using so much data, and because especially if you're shooting 8K and 12K, it's just eating up a lot of juice. And then the last point, and I did not know this, and this is something that I should have known beforehand, is apparently the 12K can't shoot 6K. So you're pretty much boxed in with 12K and 8K or 4K. Like, why have they taken out that middle ground of 6K? I don't understand that, because a lot of people, myself included, the 6K is a really good middle ground between shooting high resolution 8K and shooting 4K. I like shooting 6K every now and then. I think the footage looks really nice when you shoot. It's not needed, but I think it just looks really nice. And if you've got the storage for 6K, then go for it. But that was really interesting to see, and I think for me, maybe in the video I possibly should have said that. Again, it's like there is no. The only reason I suggested about getting the 12K is just simply because it's the same accessories than the 6K. So it's almost like you might as well just pay a little bit. And again, I did say in the video, like, you might just wait an extra year and that 12K will drop in price, especially second hand. So it's, that was the only point. I just wanted to. It's good to have a conversation about it, and some people were rightfully, possibly saying, this is complete. Why would you say that the 6K isn't worthy in 2026? I said that it is 100% worth it in 2026. Having the Pocket 6K, and I think the Pocket 6K, not the Pocket 6K, the Pyxis 6K, I think it's such a good camera for the price tag, especially now. And like I said in the video, I said I know that I wouldn't buy this camera at full price. At I think it's like roughly 3,600, because you've got better options and higher competition out there with full frame cameras, and buying it at full price when you've got the 12K, when you got the 12K out there, which again, same body accessories, same monitor, etc. For me, it's just about that extra dynamic range within shooting 8K, and the non-sensor crop within the camera, and the much improved frames per second and improved readout speed, and that RGBW sensor within that camera. I think those are huge bonuses for a relatively low price. Again, if I was given the option between 6K and the 12K right in front of me, I probably would still pick the 6K, just because I know that I'm never going to shoot 8K, I'm never going to shoot 12K. And I think what Blackmagic have sort of, maybe I'm completely wrong here, but what they've messed up is naming their cameras after the resolutions, because 12K obviously is far too much for what we do and for what I do, unless you're doing VFX work, but that's a whole different beast. And yeah, I mean, the mistake that they've made is naming their cameras after the resolution, right? Is saying, this is the Pyxis 12K, this is the 12K large format. One of their cameras is called the 17K LF. Why are they calling it, the Ursa 17K? And I feel like their marketing and the titling of their cameras is bad, because people, when you say the Pyxis 6K and you say the Pyxis 12K, people are going to say, oh, you obviously going to get the 6K. Obviously you don't want the camera with the 12K. For people who are buying the Pyxis cameras, they're not going to be shooting 12K work. But that's not the point. You're not paying for 12K. Let me just make that clear. You're not paying the extra £1,000 for the 12K resolution. My point is what you are paying for is the higher frame rates, non-sensor crop and the readout speeds. Okay, I'm repeating myself now, so I think it's a good comparison though. And let's be honest, it's Blackmagic. Give it a little bit, and they're going to release a camera, the Pyxis Pro, with all of the built-in NDs and possibly a fold-out screen and things like that. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that. It was very interesting, and so yeah, like I said, if you like the video, thank you for that, and thank you for that support. Yeah, another point of topic as well that I wanted to talk about is, since in a few videos back on the streams, hold on, a few episodes back on the stream, I said about the update that Blackmagic have done for their audio, with full audio inputs and outputs and pre-recording and all of that kind of stuff. And since I've done since I've downloaded that update, there has been a few instances where my camera has just not turned on, and I don't know if it's to do with the fact that I've got stuff plugged. It never used to do that, so it's almost like it must be the update. I don't know if it's cold or if the camera is starting to wear out. It shouldn't do. I bought it. I've only had it for about a year, so I really hope it's not that. Is it the fact that I'm using wrong batteries and the power output is wrong? Because every time I spark the camera on, not every time, sorry, a few times I've sparked the camera on, and it's turned on, but I had no picture feed at all. And it's not, I promise you, it's not because I've got the lens cap in front of the camera. That's not it. But then when I plug it into the mains or plug it into a V-Lock battery, turn it off again and on again, it powers up. So I feel like it's a lack of power input into the camera since the update. So I feel like the update has added but then there's been times where I've turned the camera on using those BPU batteries at the back, and they've turned on fine. So it's this rare occurrence that's happened about 4 times, and it has become an issue. But if anyone's out there who's experienced the same thing after the update, because I need to trial and error, I need to stress test it and to see if it's the battery that's the issue when I turn the camera on. And sometimes I feel like it's because I've got the Rode mic plugged in and an XLR cable, mini XLR cable plugged in. I don't know if that's the reason as well. And all of a sudden, because I'm using phantom power on those audio devices, is it when I turn it on, it's just not outputting enough power? Is that the issue? And also I've got the Pyxis monitor in that camera as well. So is it the fact that I need to get better BPU batteries? Because it's not doing that initial spark that's powering my camera enough? Or is it because of the stuff that I've got plugged into it? I don't know. But it's going to become an issue if it continues. But I need to figure that out. So if anybody out there knows of anything that's happened to do with the newest update, and I doubt it, but if you've got a Pyxis 6K, let me know if that's an issue you guys are having, and perhaps this is a warning, because if it is the update, don't update the camera just yet. Okay. What I will say though is, apart from that, again, if it is the update, I don't know, but if it is that, so far that update has been really good. You know, I haven't turned pre-recording on because, like I said in the past video, it's going to be too much battery usage. But the full audio channels, and the fact that you can solo audio channels and mute audio channels, and even if you mute audio channels, actually I'm not going to say this because I don't know for certain, I'm just making assumptions, but what I assume is that when you mute an audio channel and you're listening to it, it will just mute that audio channel. So for example, I've got a backup mic on the camera for ambience and everything like that. I can mute that channel because it's not the best audio, it's just for backup. I can mute that audio channel and and not have to listen to it in the headphones. And then another good example of that update and the for audio inputs and outputs is you can solo audio tracks, which has been really useful when it's come to listening to just the Rode mic and doing interviews and just listening to that one audio input into the camera. And then as well, if I want to unmute that, and I don't have to mute all of them, I can just solo track it like you would on Premiere Pro. Just click the S button and it will solo that audio track. Again, I know that these all seem like really small things, but these little updates and these little quality of life improvements makes a huge difference. And I've done like 2 shoots with the update, and already it's just incredibly, it's improved how I do interviews and how I record sound entirely for that camera. And another feature as well that's really good is the mono. So you can, instead of, because there was just 2 audio inputs for the camera, one was the left ear and one was the right ear. Now you can record on both those, well, all 4, and just click mono, so you'll be able to listen to all of the sound that it's recording. And then, like I said, you can solo your primary audio input. So yeah, touching on the update, maybe it's the update that's making the camera faulty, but something to consider. Okay, so something else as well is that I want these live streams and I want the YouTube channel and the social medias to be a form of networking, and I don't want it to just be me all the time. That's why I got Isaac on last week, is because I want to involve more people into the channel in general. But I don't want it to just be me and just all my work and all of this. I want the live streams to be an opportunity for people to network, to discuss their cameras, ask questions, and don't be afraid to message in the chat and to leave comments on these videos after they're posted, because once these videos go live, but once they're live, they get posted on the channel and they can be seen over and over again. So if you've got any questions after the live stream's taken place, just leave it in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. But I want it to be a place of networking and a place where it's not just me. I just want it to be like a creative hangout where people can hang out. And that's why, again, I've done, hold on, where is it? I've done the number on that side of the screen for people to call in to ask questions. I have to keep checking my phone in case someone's called in, which I very much doubt they have. But yeah, so I wanted to clear that up and just sort of the future and where I want these live streams to go. So the reason I bring that up is because I just wanted to mention, and maybe at the same time make these live streams a little bit more personal, and just go through what I've been booked in for work-wise and the clients that I've got this week or recently. And again, like I said, I don't want it to just be an ego trip where it's like, oh, look at what I've done, look at what I'm doing. I want people to network, and I want people to discuss the progress they've made in the past 7 days. What clients have you guys booked in? What work have you guys booked in? What work have you edited and you're really proud of and that you want to put into the chat? So put them in the chat. I want to see what people are doing. So anyway, I've been signed on to do 2 short films, and these short films are actually really interesting because they are actually short films that are used as marketing to build up to a music single release. Okay, so you've got 2 short films, and they are short films. They are like 2-3 minutes long. So one's a 3 minute, and the other one's a 3 minute as well. And both of the short films tell a story, and they build up to the release of the music video, which I'm not shooting the music. There is no music video for it. It's just the song, but it's 2 short films that build and build and build in terms of marketing. That's when the build up to the release of that single for that song. I don't want to talk too much about what it's about. What it's about is 2 friends learning to reconnect and learning to be comfortable with each other in language and loss and their emotions. But I don't want to talk too much about it because it's just it's their project, and obviously once it's finished, I want to post behind the scenes of it and post how I lighting breakdowns. We have signed on to do a pre-production package as well, so it'll be really cool. I mean, that might be something I might go through in a future stream, is just go through the pre-production of it and my thought process and the lighting, cinematography for it. And I've got an assistant as well for those jobs, so they can get some behind the scenes stuff, obviously when we're shooting and then they're not needed. But just having them shoot some behind the scenes stuff, and so that will all be on my Instagram and socials. So shameless plug up the top there. So make sure to go follow me on Instagram, and you can see these behind the scenes motions of those 2 short films, and the process from start to finish. And as well, I've been signed on to do 2 music videos, which have been, so far, not much has been discussed in terms of pre-production and where we want it to go. It is still in its early stages, but that's 2 music videos that have been signed on, which I'm really excited to do. I feel like we might be a little bit stretched for time because the schedule's not looking as good as I'd want it to be, but obviously more time equals more money, and these are independent artists, so I do understand. So yeah, those are the projects that I have signed on to do. Like I said, for the short films, I want you guys to be present for it, ask questions about it, and look at the process from start to finish, and hopefully learn something, get something from it, in how I go about doing that. And it's only now that I'm starting to get these clients, and it's literally just this year, maybe the very end of last year, but this year, I mean, it's only January, right? I've only just started to really push and charge for pre-production, because that is half the battle. That's the most important part, and so it's a very hard thing to sell to a client, to say, look, it's just storyboards, or it's just a shot list. We don't need that. It's you do need that, and if you're a filmmaker out there and you've done a short film or a music video or anything commercial, these things are really important to do. So it's really good to see. And again, clients, I'm talking more creative clients, they don't have much resistance, and I do understand from their perspective, but every time I explain it, they always understand. Oh yeah, okay, I get it. You want to do the best that you want to do. We want the best from you. So yeah, do the pre-production, and then obviously I send them the pre-production document, and then I could do amendments on that pre-production document and say, look, this will work, this won't work, etc. So yeah, again, if anybody is out there listening, watching, I don't know, and you've got clients that you've booked in the past 7 days, you've just accomplished a video that you're really grateful for, leave it in the chat, because I want to see it. I want to hear what you guys are doing as well. I don't want it to just be about me and what I'm doing. Okay, another thing, and I haven't got the tab open, but I'm going to get it open now, is Apple's creative... I fumbled there on the typing. That's it, right. Which is Apple's... I'm going to move the... I'll try and move it as thin as possible. I feel like this isn't my normal... This isn't how I normally have it all set up. Normally I've got it so that the chat... I feel like I've done something wrong. Okay, hold on. I'm going to fix this. Where am I? Okay. There we go. This is better. But then how do I... Oh, I know how I normally do it. Oh, I can't be bothered. Let's keep going. But anyway, which is something that Apple have done. I thought it was really interesting. I wanted to talk about it. I'm just going to see if I can move this down. This is the first time that I'm really looking at it and looking through it, because I haven't had the time yet, which is Apple have released their Creative Studio. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but all of their creative products, so Final Cut Pro, I mean, it says here Pages, but I don't understand how that's quite creative. I guess it's Creator Studio, so it's more like creating content, look, motion, freeform, Keynote. So I feel like it's any form of creation. Final Cut Pro. So it's not just about what we do, I think. But even then, it's like I use Pages and I use Keynote for pre-production documents. So who knows? So main stage, numbers. So who knows? Like maybe this is something that's has a huge improvement on. It says available from 28th of Jan. So that's not far away at all. Meet all your starting creative apps. Logic Pro. See, the only thing even then I wouldn't use Final. I haven't used Final Cut Pro in years. Yeah. I mean, does anybody use Final Cut Pro? It's either DaVinci Resolve, which I think so many people are going towards, or it's Premiere Pro. I've never come across someone, and I mean this with the utmost respect, but I've never come across someone in the professional space who uses Final Cut Pro. You know? Maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but not once, or maybe very rarely to the point where I can't remember. But I've never had someone, oh yeah, I'm a videographer, oh I edit in Final Cut. I've never heard that. So, but at the same time, I do feel like Final Cut Pro are making their audience is people who are just starting YouTube and they want something that's quite easy to edit. So their platform is very much easy to use, pro consumer, which again, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just, the product's not for me. Either way, it'll be good to see, because I know that Final Cut Pro behind the scenes have been doing updates and improving their platform by a lot. Yeah, what else have they got? I want to see what else they've got. Logic Pro, I don't know what Logic Pro is. I think it's music based. It's using hold on one second. I think it's using, I think Logic Pro is the use of their music and adapting audio and sound. So, I mean, for me, in this stream, I feel like all I'm doing is just going through the Apple Creator Studio and all the apps that everybody already knows already. So, I'm confused as to what this is offering and what's new that it's offering. Do you have to pay for? Which apps are included in? Yeah, so it is. Can I use my existing? Still, yeah, but that's obvious. What happens to Project Connor? So what? So it's a paid subscription. The apps you need for if anyone's listening and anyone's in the chat and they use this and they want to know what it's all about, or sorry, if you know what it's all about, can you say in the chat, please, about what it is. Right, crafted stories, video, so it's just a more premium version of it, I think is what it is. It's a premium version of, is this Photoshop? Oh, anyway, so I think what's happening is Apple Pro are offering a more professional versions of these easy to use apps, and I think because of that you're going to get a lot of working creatives coming from Adobe's creative products, their Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Lightroom, all of those creative products that Adobe offer. Apple are now going to do it as well, and I'm going to assume that it's going to be a cheaper rate than Adobe. It feels like now DaVinci Resolve, Apple, so Final Cut Pro, they are all going after Premiere Pro, because Premiere Pro, not Premiere Pro, or Adobe in general have had such a monopoly on creative products and creative editing software for so long that I feel like all of these other pro-consumer companies are competing with that. So now I'm understanding, okay, I get it now. Apple, they want to compete with Adobe in their products and their lineup and offer I guarantee you they're going to be easier to use, and they're going to be cheaper. Why does it keep doing the thumbs up? That's annoying. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's an interesting move and a bold move by Apple, and this has taken a long time for them to do. Apple have been around for ages. Have they had this in mind and they've just waited for the prime moment to be like, okay, the market is there, now let's go for it. Interesting, really interesting. Because if editing and Photoshop, and it said there in the description, AI-powered tools, if AI makes it really useful and easy to use, and its editing becomes so snappy and quick, then this is going to be a really good product to get. But I don't really want to get another subscription to I'm with Adobe. I know how Adobe works. I'm a working professional. This might possibly not be my demographic, but it is the demographic of people who, let's say, start a YouTube channel or want to edit their own content for their own business. This is the kind of stuff that this is the kind of package that they're gonna look for. Yeah, look, hide backwards. That's like Photoshop, and look, stuff like this is just going to be, it's templates, really easy to use. Look, custom font, text, all of that, just stuff that's really easy to use. Let's scroll down. Let's keep going. I want to see what else they've got. Yeah, look at like this is what I'm saying. Like prompts, AI prompts, and this looks like the keynote. And this just looks, yeah, you could just. Yeah, okay, it's a big integration as well with AI. So you can type in prompts and be like, this is the kind of... See, this is where I think I said this last time, my whole point with AI. Like, how is this fair marketing? Because your product that you're offering would not look like this at all. And again, I'll describe image edits. So, describe image edits, but that's what I'm saying. You could just shoot your product and it just looks rubbish. And I'm saying like food in general, not cooked properly, just presentation is crap. But then you put it through AI and you make it look all nice. Make it look like a Wagamama poster or a Wagamama menu. And it does it like this. First of all, what's the point in even taking the photo of your product in the first place? And second of all, surely this is false advertising because your product looks nothing like what the AI generator has done. So yeah, it just confuses me because I don't get how that's not false advertising. I don't get how, without it, having to say, look, this is AI. How are customers and consumers going to see what's a real product and what's not? But yeah, it looks like they've integrated AI. It's going to be a huge integration of AI into their more professional creative studios. So yeah, let's see what else. Go from idea to done in a flash. Yeah. Easy to use. Yeah, key points. So you type in, generate new slides. This is what it's where things are going is nuts. You generate new slides. You do an overview, key points, and it will just create. This might be something to use, genuinely, because this is great for pre-production documents. If you want to create treatments and you want to put in, you could put in reference stills from other films that the client has sent over. This is what we want it to look like. I'm assuming you can drop this all into a slide and be like, create me a treatment with AI stills that look like this film, and it's like boom, it'll all do it with these key points. And you can create whole pre-production projects as well, pitch projects to directors and to clients using this software, if you want to call it software. How long have we been going? 37. Okay. I've still got. Okay. Yeah. This is winning me over now. I was sort of didn't care for it and wasn't bothered because I made the assumption it was just Premiere Pro and not Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, and their Photoshop and their Logic and that kind of creative space. But now seeing the presentations that you can do with AI, and typing in AI for pages, create me a terms and conditions document for this specific client. Is it going to be able to do it, and is it going to be able to offer legal advice for terms and conditions? I don't really use Pages for client stuff at all because it's just boring documents, but pitching to a director and pitching to a client and pitching creative ideas through Keynote, that's going to be really interesting. What I wish... Okay, powerful features that build on Apple's intelligence, help you get more done in Keynote Pages numbers. As an Apple Creator Studio subscriber, you get access to a wide range of high-quality content and new AI capabilities to help with your projects. Yeah, I wish you could just get... I just want to pay for Keynote. Why do I have to pay for everything else? Let me just use Keynote. Why? That's all I want from this. So hopefully you can get... I mean, with Adobe, you can just get a single... I mean, not once have they said about the price. Yeah. I want to know how much. But, yeah. Let me just check my phone. 0 calls, as usual. Yeah, I want to know what the price is, and I want them to do the same thing that they did with Adobe, and just have it so that you can just get singular products, not just... You don't have to pay for the entire subscription. Okay, moving on. I was going to talk about the 14mm lens that I've got and what I think of it so far. I'm just going to touch upon this briefly. The 14mm 7 Artisan 14mm prime lens L mount that I got recently is, so far, it's exceeded my expectations. It's sharp. It's sharp when you're wide open. It is T2.9, but it's relatively sharp at T2.9. But when you just close it down, if you shoot more at T3, I feel like the quality and the sharpness of that lens is just slightly better, just because you're not super duper wide open. When you close it down just a little bit, close the aperture down, it just improves the sharpness just a little bit. But I haven't actually tested it. This is just what I think in general so far. But so far, the colours are strong. It's perhaps maybe a bit desaturated in the colours, and you just got to push the saturation a little bit in the colour grade. So some of the image is not, I don't want to say flat or lacking contrast, but it's just ever so slightly. But this is easily fixed. Just adding a bit of contrast in the colour grade and just improving just a little bit. I'm talking like 5%. 105 on the saturation, just to boost the colours a little bit. But when you shoot open gate and when you shoot in 6x5, that wide lens, it's really nice. It's really nice when you can shoot subjects really close, and it doesn't create if you can be quite close, and it doesn't warp the face at all in that lens. And I was really impressed with how you could follow people. I mean, obviously it's a wide lens, and if the person is really close to the lens, you're going to have some distortion and warping between the subject and the background. But ultimately, it doesn't do it to the point where it's like, oh, this is I don't like this, it's too stylistic. It works very much similar to the Birdman and how that film did it. It works more like a 21mm, when you're shooting 4K. And when you're shooting 6K, I would say more like an 18mm. But having the option to shoot it at 6x5 and having the option to to squeeze for 9x16 and 16x9 is really cool. So that lens, what I will say as well, the focus throw is really long. So you literally have to keep focusing all the way down. But again, cinema lens is what you expect. But then sometimes I've then got to focus it all the way back out and then redo it from the beginning just to find that focus again. And sometimes the focus peaking doesn't quite pick it up. I guess because it's so wide. I don't really know. But yeah, super sharp. If you want to know more about the lens, I did like a little, it's in the YouTube video. I did an Instagram story as well of my dog. That was shot on in the park, and that was shot on the 14mm. And you can see from that footage, it's like really sharp, really, really nice. So I was going to talk about Canon's new, there's this old, we're going to go on to Iron Glass in a minute and what vintage rehousing is. But it was this lens here, and it's relatively new in terms of rehousing. But what I believe is that this is an old Canon lens that was very popular when it first came out, and it was 35 to 105, and it is this old vintage lens. I want to know. I did try to let's have a look. I had to rush heading onto this stream, so I didn't really have time to look at it. Let's have a look. Or is it going to search the... no. I want to know when it was... Oh, here we go. In 1981, the original base lens, here we go, okay. The original base lens, f3.5, was introduced in the early 1980s, so 1981. And it was a hugely popular lens for the time. And they recently announced that they are, I don't know who they are, to be honest with you, but maybe it's a Canon in general, I don't know. But they are, whoever they are rehousing all of these lenses. And I know that a lot of people, a lot of veterans of this game who grew up on these lenses are really thrilled about this. You know, they've got their favourite lens that they used to shoot with, vintage glass with those characteristics, and they're all being rehoused. Look at that. That's so cool. All being rehoused into this cinema body of the lens, PL mount. I'm assuming PL mount. What else would they put it on? Yeah, that looks like a PL mount to me. So they're rehousing all of these lenses to a modern audience, basically, into a cinema body. The price is, including VAT, 12 grand. So this is sort of where we're going towards. These are proper lenses, you know, proper vintage cinema lenses. This one says 24 to 75, and this one says 35 to 105. So which one is it, or can you pick? Ancient optics. That's so cool. Yeah, you must be able to pick between the two. But yeah, they're rehousing them. I would love to shoot on a lens like this. Absolutely love it. I mean, again, as the career moves forward and as projects get bigger, I would love to be able to rent, for the right project, I'd love to be able to rent this lens. Because, yeah. And then, I think, yeah, the huge trend at the minute with vintage glass and vintage lenses. Loads of people are using vintage lenses nowadays. So these are really popular, lenses right now to have, is these vintage lenses. Okay, so how long have we been going for? Okay, 47 minutes. I'm gonna ever so slightly wrap up now. what, for people who don't know, if there's anyone out there listening, I don't know if there's anybody out there who doesn't know what vintage lens rehousing is. What it is basically they take these old vintage lenses and these old characteristics of these lenses, and again I'm talking the 70s, 80s, and the 60s, and this, weird way of putting it, but basically all of these lenses throughout that time period, and they take these lenses and they rehouse them into a more modern cinema body, and you've got all of these really great iconic lens sets that back then were used as, primarily for photography and film photography, so they've got very specific characteristics to them. Huge films, modern films, let me just move this, modern films, hold on, oh for God's sake, okay, hold on. Okay, where are we? So is it MK trading program, the Zeist ones? Yes, the custom. Where's the Helios ones? I think it's these ones. Let me see if I've got to read it through the. I think it's these ones. These are the ones that I've got a Helios 442 50mm vintage lens, but I should have brought all of these up. But with the vintage glass, you can see that it was meant for these tiny little film photography cameras. And basically what this company does, and what cinema rehousing is in general, and this is Iron Glass, is that they put all the glass and all of the characteristics of these lenses, the way that it flares, and the way that the bokeh is in the background, and you've got oval bokeh that sort of spreads around the subject in more of like a circular motion. These are all really unique characteristics with the Helios lens. And what they do, they put them in these cinema bodies, and so you can attach them to modern PL cameras and modern cameras in general. These are PL lens mounts, and you put them on these cameras, and they just work as any other cinema camera. But this is something that I want to do for the Helios, but again, I think it was like $4,000. I got quoted, and I did actually reach out to them, and I was speaking with someone to do a review on. So I was the one that reached out to do a review on it, because there was a short film that I was doing that needed that Helios. Didn't need it, but it would have really suited the project. Is to have that vintage glass and that vintage lens on the Pyxis, and I can still shoot with the lens. It's not as if I can't shoot with it, but it's just not optimized. And I basically reached out to them and I said, can I get one for free, and I'll do a review on it and discuss these guys and what they do. And that we were talking back and forth, and they were like, yeah, we'll send you one. And I said, okay, here's my address. Can I have it in PL mounts? Blah blah blah. No reply. Hey, just chasing up, just following up. Can I get this is my address. Is one being sent, because the film's being shot in a month. And they just never got back to me. They just ignored all the rest of my emails. So it was weird that the process went up to that point. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about me and talk about anyway. So yeah, doing these vintage. This is what vintage rehousing is, and it's something that has gained huge popularity over the past few years. But who knows? Maybe this is something that's worthy of. I mean, $4,000 is a lot of money just to have some. If you're in the game, and you're a rental house and you're renting these lenses, then yeah, sure, possibly. These aren't the Helios ones, but I can't be bothered to go through this entire website to look for them. But yeah, these are like huge cinema sets, cinema lens sets. These aren't just the occasional little photography camera. These are full-blown cinema lens set. Yeah, these are this is just for the individual ones. How much is the set? Is this how much they are per lens? That is crazy how expensive they are. But, oh man. Yeah, I'd love it. Right. Yeah, sorry. This week's stream has been a little bit weird. All I've done is just talk for 52 minutes straight. Sorry. I've been out filming the construction job every Wednesday, and I drive for about 3.5 hours in between the projects, and it's just exhausting. And I really did rush to get onto this stream, and I sort of rushed the prep that I do beforehand. So I do apologise if today's stream's been a bit. I've seemed a bit. It's been a bit dull. Anyway, and also I haven't got my glass of water with me. My mouth is. I'm struggling to talk because I haven't got my glass of water to refresh myself. Anyway, first lazy stream of it so far, but like I said, just touching what I said earlier at the beginning of the episode was I want these live streams and the YouTube channel and the social media to just be a place of networking, to be a place, especially these live streams and the channel, is to showcase your work and to network and to be proud of what you've shot in the past 7 days, since the last stream. What new clients have you got? What new projects are you working on? I want to know more about what you guys are working on. Have you got a new camera? Have you got a new lens? I want to know more about what everyone else out there is shooting with and what everyone else out there is using to shoot. And what lights are you excited to buy? What lights have you bought? I want to know. I do want to know. I don't want it. I don't want all of this to just be about me all the time, and what I've done and everything. And again, educational. Ask questions. How did I do this? How did I do? How did I set the pre-production up? Just general questions. So yeah. Okay, let's go back to the other. Ooh. If you're new here, welcome. Just to finalise, if you're a new subscriber and you're here and you've joined the stream and you've watched from start to finish, welcome to the channel. Welcome to me. My name is Jared Parker, an aspiring cinematographer. Follow me on Instagram at the top there, and if you want to, join our chat where I talk about, where I update everybody with the latest videos, latest live streams, when I'm streaming, when I'm not streaming, etc. So make sure, and also behind the scenes content on stories, and just my work in general. So make sure to follow me on Instagram, or don't care. And yeah, that's everything. I'm going to end the stream now because I'm genuinely exhausted. But thank you if you are watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's stream. Thank you, and bye bye.